A plastic Thunderhawk is a plastic Thunderhawk.
Spiky Bits.
Welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. I'm Rob Bear from SpikyBits.com, and we've got it. We got the plastic Thunderhawk. Although I think a lot of us probably wish it was a little bit bigger, but that's okay. A plastic Thunderhawk is still a plastic Thunderhawk by any means, of course. And this is just a really neat kit just to get and just have some fun with it and fly around the table and make pew pew and machine gun noises and little thrusters, which we'll probably do here in a few minutes. This is a new release for Games Workshop for Aeronautica Imperialis. I don't play it. I actually have never seen a game played. That's not to say there aren't players out there, but I think more people are going to be interested in this release probably than the rest of the releases out there just in a general sense. So that's kind of why we're jumping in and doing this. And I want me personally just to have, you know, next to the big Mama Bird resin Thunderhawk that we have here in the studio as well. So this kit is $42, which actually doesn't seem that bad from Games Workshop. In you know, in Games Workshop money, air quotes. Sometimes it's really hard to kind of find value, but when the rest of the kits pretty much for AI are coming out at that $42 mark, and this one being a single kit, I don't know, I just kind of expected it to be more. I don't know why, but I did, and I was kind of really pleasantly surprised when it was only $42. So it's going to come with the AI stand, which you can put a couple flight stems in. I imagine it's got the ball joint on the top that you can lock in, and the decal transfer sheet right there. Once I get it all opened up, it kind of looks like somebody was napping there, because it definitely didn't need two stands here. They must have thought it was a regular kit, and it didn't need two sets of flying stands either, but you're going to get the two sprues for the kit, and I guess an extra random flying stand as well. The instructions, the AI, whatever you want to call it, combat gauge, I guess, I don't know. And the instructions too, which I probably think is more important at this point to check out. Now, I have about zero experience with these models from Games Workshop, so it's going to be interesting, but I built one of these, so I kind of know how it goes together. And looking at this, it doesn't go together anything. Well, I guess the wings are very similar, but they definitely don't have a top and bottom, so to speak. The ailerons are separate. But this is kind of interesting. So it goes together. It looks like the left and right half kind of go together, and that's hollow on the top and hollow on the bottom. And then you lock in the bottom fuselage there with this extra piece. I don't know, just a random bulkhead piece, we'll call it. And then the top cockpit area in this back, whatever this flat fuselage armor area is. So it closes off the top pretty quick, and then you can put the armament, the volcano cannon on it, and then you build up the wings and the intake and also the exhaust. And then it looks like the little plates on the front of the wings. Then everything kind of starts to assemble together, and it shows you, I don't know if this is a piece, is this a separate piece? Yeah, I guess that's a separate piece, and then you put those assemblies on it, and then you're eventually going to look like something like this. And then the S-foils here get not glued in. It looks like they flip up and down. So I'm wondering if the tension is good enough there. You got the vertical stabilizer, the heavy bolter sponsons in the front, and also the front winglet stabilizer as well. Looks pretty simple. Okay, so underneath you've got the thruster assembly with the built-in intake. No, the intake's up here. So the thruster assembly goes together, and then you've got the two heavy bolter turrets that are underslung here ventrally, and then you've got these are the missiles, the Hellstrike missiles. So all the Hellstrike missiles go on. I guess you could leave them off, paint them separate, and then glue them on. We'll see kind of how big they are. I have no idea. And then the foot pads here, you may not want to glue the gear on because you want to have it in a flying mode. So you could do that, and then it looks like you can just glue either the gear itself to the top, or you can have the whole landing assembly, yeah, just like that. Okay, cool. That's neat to see. So then you've got two different stems which you put on here, which I kind of theorized judging by what was the containers in there. But I'm wondering if that little ball joint locks in and you can do little pew pew nosedive actions and things. Let's take a look at the sprues real quick. The sprues are interesting because they look like they're laid out similarly, but obviously they're not exactly the same part. So that I would imagine that they just mirrored that left half with the right half of the fuselage there, and the same vice versa with the wings. So probably only had to do half the design work with this, I would imagine. But There's the Hellstrike missiles, which are pretty cool looking and definitely mostly well detailed as far as you can tell in miniature. And then they glue onto here underneath ventrally, I believe it's called. And then you've got the front gear, the front rear hatch. I don't know what that is. All the landing gear and such. The stable of the front fairings. The rear gear area. You got the volcano cannon. So everything looks so cute. It's so small. Heavy bolter bits. I don't know what this is. We'll find out in a second. And then the other sprue, pretty much laid out the same way. Looks like some wings. There's the S-foils. Heavy bolter sponsons. They're so tiny. The last cannon is so tiny. You know, it's just adorable. If it had cheeks, I would pinch it. And that's the front. So there's the cockpit, which definitely on the resin model, it's a little separate, a little different for sure. So interesting. Okay, well, it's not. I mean, it doesn't really seem like a lot of parts, although I'm sure it's kind of a deceptive build because, you know, just for instance, the thruster here has thruster, then it's got the back thruster. It's got, I guess it's got the turbine rather, the back thruster, the front exhaust. So it seems like everything might be a little deceptive because it has multiple parts to make the assemblies. And here it is. So this is a pretty cool kit. The wings, they're the S-foils, I guess. They don't stay up, but they do move, which is kind of cool. But that's about all the moving parts here. Unfortunately, everything else is glued down. Didn't glue in the gear just in case. I wasn't sure if I wanted to glue it down. Probably glue it down just so it can, you know, has something to land on, because you might not always put it on the little Aeronautical game stand, I suppose. Although when you put it on stand, it might look kind of silly having gear, but I don't know yet. I think we'll just go with this. But yeah, it goes together. Like I said, probably in a minute ago to you, but a while ago to me, this seemed like it would go together pretty quick, but it ended up being about an hour and a half or so to get it together, which, you know, I mean, I guess it's kind of a bigger kit. I mean, you don't really have any scale yet besides my hands, which are probably kind of not really a good scale to take because they're a little bit bigger than I realize sometimes, I think. But yeah, this is let's see, it's about 4 inches long by about 3 inches for the wingspan, give or take. So it is a bit of a chunk, and it would definitely be noticeable on the tabletop. You could probably use it as some sort of crazy drone or something in 40k if you really wanted to. Now, I wanted to show you how this compares size-wise to a few other things you probably know a little bit more scale-wise, like how big it is. So yeah, like you could use this as some sort of crazy drone for Marines if you really wanted to, like a baby Thunderhawk or display piece. It doesn't really scale well with the 40, you know, the 40, 30, 32, whatever the scale is now, miniatures, but I guess it would scale okay, perhaps with like the action figures from like Joy Toy, or maybe even like the McFarlane ones. I think would probably scale up pretty well. I definitely could see that. Now, I do have the older pewter one from back in the day, from Epic or Space Marine or whichever version you played. That is this right here. So it's definitely a larger scale, as we saw with Titanicus, than the previous game systems. And obviously design and things have come along pretty far since then. And this obviously looks more like the full-scale pewter Thunderhawk that they made eventually. I think they limited that to like 200. Squidmar did a video on that. And any used ones that pop up on eBay as of late sell for about $8,000 to $10,000. Just the miniature itself, not even painted, sometimes not even with the collector's box and the numbering or anything like that. That's how rare these things are. It's crazy. Well, not this, but the other one. This actually goes for, I think, currently about 80 bucks on eBay, give or take. But this one's $42 US. So it's just kind of, I mean, just sit around something for 30 years, and I guess that's worth a lot more than perhaps what you paid for it, but that's not really a good investment strategy, I suppose. Now, let's look at how it compares to some bigger things. So speaking of Titanicus, here we are. We have a Warlord Titan. Now, there's been a lot of rumors that, you know, they might spin these games together, or Titanicus or AI wasn't going to get any more releases, and then we just saw that they have some Necron stuff coming. So that was really cool to see, kind of out of nowhere, I suppose, that, you know, depending on what rumors you were listening to. I was more concerned with Titanicus not getting any previews, which was definitely made me sad. So we'll see. We'll have to see what happens with all that. Now, scale-wise, it's been rumored that these are quarter scale, meaning that 4 of these together would be about as long as the actual Thunderhawk gunship, or 4 of these tall would be as tall as the normal 40k scale Warlord Titan from Forge World. And we've done that. We've taken pictures of that. We've showed you that that was the case. And I can tell you right now that the Forge World Thunderhawk is roughly 17 inches long. So it actually, no, I think I'm off. I think this is not 4 inches long. I think this is more. Yeah, okay. Because now that I remember, the wingspan's 17. The length of the Forge World Thunderhawk is 19. So this actually would change probably quarter scale to the Forge World Thunderhawk. Now, it's going to be very hard for me to get that into the picture here and kind of compare it to you, but I might have the next best thing. And there it is. So roughly the same scale of the 40k sized miniatures Thunderhawk over top of the Warlord Titan there, and switch back to what we got right here. And it is roughly the same scale between these game systems and also Warhammer 40k. So in theory, if Games Workshop wanted to, they could convert this into a scalable game that worked with both sets of miniatures, I suppose. Not to say that they will. We haven't heard any rumors. I mean, we've heard some wish listing, but we haven't heard any credible or solid rumors that is the case, that was happening. But it's really cool to see that they literally have these files and they can just spin them up and spit them out and turn them into, you know, plastic, or use them, whatever technology, to print out 3D masters and then casting them in resin, and then boom, putting out the Forge World kits as well. So that's just really, really cool to see that they have that level of technology. And to be honest, not many other people do. Oh, one more thing left to compare, and then we're out of here. I wanted to see how this went on to, oh, it goes into the stand pretty good. Oh, that's cool. So it just pops right on, and then, oh yeah, it's got plenty of tension, especially when you put some primer on this. I think you'll be able to do all sorts of cool strafing run and flight poses and things like that when you have it on the tabletop if you're playing Aeronautical or Aeronautica. But if you're just going to buy this and paint it up and put it on the shelf, I mean, in theory, you could put it on the stand, but I think you might want to just leave the gear down and put it on that. Now, I'm not exactly sure. I might just set this on the back of my Thunderhawk, my resin Thunderhawk. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but we got to figure that one out because it's too cool. It's just adorable. Look at the little guy. If it had cheeks, I would pinch it. Now we've gotten this far, and you probably haven't even noticed yet, but I lost the fairing piece off the top here. It just sprung off at some point when I was walking around the studio. And despite my best efforts, along with the cats, we were not able to find it, unfortunately. But that being said, make sure you glue down yours good, because if you're not, you might pop it off on accident and then not realize it until you went to record the video. But hopefully none of you saw that and it didn't ruin the immersion. So that is it for this one. Thank you for watching my unbox and build of the brand new Thunderhawk for Aeronautical Imperialis. Plastic is still plastic, still counts. But man, let me tell you what, I would love to see this kit in plastic before my hobby career is over, I suppose. And I'm sure there's a lot of other folks out there. I don't know if it's economical, I don't know if it's worth the price, but hey, Games Workshop definitely has a way with bringing stuff back that they think will sell. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can be the very first to like and comment on all our future videos. If you liked that video feature, consider supporting us over at Patron.com and get back in the mail each month a miniature crate full of some of the stuff we review here, as well as some of the top 3D artist designs out there too to help support what they're doing. Plus, discount coupon codes from some of those same manufacturers. They're yours to keep, whether you cancel or stay on. It's totally up to you. Obviously, we want to keep you as happy as possible. So check it out over at patreon.com/spikybits.